It's all on the door handle if you wanted to change it.
That's a bit high.
How's that? Oh, it's the other one. It's that one. How's that? And on these ones, the seat head restraint alters if you wanted that to be altered as well. So, there you go.
That's about right, I think.
How's that?
That feels just about right.
Just about right. Yeah, it looks comfortable to me.
Yeah.
So you're looking quite a nice, supportive position. And then of course we've got that mirror.
Yeah.
We've got other cars around us today, so we've got about 5 or 6 other cars on track at the same time. So you just want to make sure you can see as you would do normally on the road as well. Now, yeah, so we've got various different settings on this car. We're going to use it first of all in just the standard settings, in comfort mode, eco settings. Has yours got the eco settings on it as well? So it's got start, stop and things like that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got exactly the same sort of settings on this.
Yeah.
So we're going to start you off in those settings, get you used to the feel of the car, see what the differences are really. And then we'll pick up on the other areas. We've got some skid pans on the left hand side. Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah.
Okay, and was there any particular reason or anything you really wanted to try out?
There's a Christmas present.
Oh, was it? Right, okay then. Right. So we'll just do everything then. We'll just do everything, and obviously some ski control and things like that. That's quite nice to do as well. While we're by this area here, we want to keep our speed down to about 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I keep the hazard lights on just because we've got people wandering back and forth. You never know, they do sometimes not see us in this big car. And then when we go out that way, 30 miles an hour on the access roads, we've got learner cars around as well.
Yeah.
Once we're on the track, there's no speed limit. But you're happy on those pedal controls? Yeah, that's the brake, that's the accelerator, that's it. And you got a parking brake, but we hardly ever use it. Yeah. It's on at the moment, so you might want to just take the parking brake off. There we go. Okay, and then I think we'll have to go a little bit backwards, a tiny bit backwards first. Straight up that way. That's it, yeah. A little bit backwards. There we go, that'll be fine. I've got enough room there. Right. And then follow past these cars. Okay, I'll just turn those off as soon as we come past.
That's a good hazard warning light.
Have you ever sat in the back of one of these? The class? No?
Well,
Round towards this way? Yeah, you sat in the back of that one. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just, I've never sat in the back. Don't know what they're like. Carry on. Does it feel the same in the back? Yeah. Straight on. The seats are slightly more supportive in the front, aren't they? Carry on down here. So what you'll find, there's a few speed limits around, 30 miles an hour, things like that. We've actually got a few interesting systems on this car. We've got speed limit recognition, sign recognition. So it's got 2 cameras which look that way and recognise those sort of things. We've got a sleep awareness system. So
my car's got that.
Yeah.
It's more strange because I've been doing a job in Wales.
Yes.
And going there, even straight from home after about 50 miles, it comes into operation, and I'm not tired.
It depends what it's looking for.
Yeah.
And it depends how you're driving. One of the typical things that they say about tiredness is that it makes your reactions quite kind of twitchy.
Right.
Okay. So if you found yourself a bit like that, then that's going to set it off as well, around towards the left here. If you find your grip is quite firm on the steering wheel, that'll set it off as well.
Left again.
Around towards the left. If you had a relaxed grip, then that's a sign of being quite awake actually. Funny enough. So there's it's just probably trying to pick up on things, and you're confusing it maybe. Take your hands off the wheel, you'll be fine.
smooth.
So smooth, isn't it? Well, it's a V8, and in the eco settings, the comfort settings, the engine's not really doing very much work at all, is it?
It's doing nothing.
It's just about 1,000 revs, something like that. And from the point of view of the gearing on this car, I mean, you're in third gear right now,
Yeah.
at no speed at all, and it's just changed up to fourth. What is it, 20 miles an hour maybe?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
23, 22 miles an hour at fourth gear. So this is going to promote quite a lot of fuel economy. It's actually going to get near on about 30 miles a gallon, because the engine just isn't stressed at all. So a diesel variety of this, to be the same amount of fuel running costs, will have to do at least 35 mile a gallon to actually be able to compete with this. So sometimes we find that customers actually would be better off with a 5.5 litre engine rather than, you know, a diesel. Actually, don't know what, you must get quite a lot of fuel economy in your car though.
Yes.
On the run, you must find it must get
Well, from
50
new,
at least.
Yeah, from new, it's done 47.9 average, and
That's good, isn't it?
I've had it probably just short of a year.
Yeah.
Well, just a year.
How many miles have you done in that?
It's done just shy of 30 now.
Okay. No, you've done well to do that, really. And did you have the old model before that? The C-Class?
Yeah, I had a C-Class before that. That wasn't as economic.
No, because that was a 350, wasn't it? So, yeah, no, that's not too bad. Okay, so that's all in comfort mode, where the car's not really doing a huge amount of work. It's in fourth gear, as I said. The steering's quite light as well, isn't it? The suspension is also in a soft setting.
Yeah.
So that means that it does roll a little bit. I'm going to change that a little bit. There we go. And I'll put you into a sport setting now. We've got different settings. We've got 4 different settings on this car for the sensitivity of the throttle. We've also got 3 different settings on the firmness of the suspension. So now I've turned that on.
Well, the car I've got has got 2 settings. It's either economy or sport.
Yeah, so you've got E or E or S there. Yeah. So this is also got a 2 sport settings and a manual setting as well. And this one is actually a manual gearbox car. A lot of autos will actually be have actually an automatic gearbox.
Yeah.
But this has actually got a twin clutch on it.
Yeah.
It does the clutch for you. The gear change is very, very quick as well. Let's go a little bit faster. Just turn a bit faster. So you can hear the engine wants to rev a whole lot more. The throttle response just feels just a little bit quicker as well, doesn't it? That's it. A little more power. This is also running absolutely standard tyres.
Yeah.
So we've just got Continental tyres on this, Continental contacts, which are what is spec'd for this car from new. There's no hesitation on grip at all, is there?
It's fine.
It doesn't move around at all. Have you found yourself slipping around at all in your car at all, in any conditions?
Occasionally when it's wet, I won't, just as you're setting off.
Right.
But I don't drive particularly hard anyway.
No. So you might find at junctions, a little bit of wetness at junctions maybe. You might feel maybe a little bit of hesitation on grip there.
Yeah, because there's a bit of muck on the ground anyway, probably, when people stopping and starting.
That's it. But most of the time, the feeling that you'll get there is where the ESP system, the traction control system, is actually just limiting the power very slightly. This one's actually got different settings on the ESP as well, so not only is it on or off, but you've got different settings as well, so you can change it on the way when the car actually kicks in on the traction control. It's also got a manual gearbox setting as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried... You've got paddles on yours?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried using the paddles on yours?
Occasionally.
On your car, because it's not a manual gearbox car, it's a bit frustrating sometimes, isn't it?
It's a bit fluffy.
Yeah, and the gear change isn't particularly quick. So you're in second gear right now. If you just drop a little bit of distance from the car in front, and then we can have a play with the paddles. Okay, what we can do, the right paddle, when you put the car straight, if you pull that back, there you go, and then just before the corner, change down on the left. So it's really quick, isn't it?
It's instant.
Did you notice how the engine just brought up its revs as well? So that's a difference compared to yours as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this one literally will flip the throttle if you're doing it quickly to actually just bring the engine speed up. So it's just a very, very smooth gear change. Heel and toe kind of idea.
Yeah.
So go around this corner again. Give him a little bit more distance, because what we'll do, we'll get it up into third, and then we'll do a gear change down into second. So let's see, coming off here. No, it's not. It's going to do another lap as well. So a little bit of power, a bit more, changing up on the gear shift, and then for this one, there we go. You notice the bit of power again, changing up, and then just before the corner. It really does slow the car down as well. So it's not like your auto gearbox where it's almost a magic carpet ride as well, isn't it?
It is. It carries on.
It's just smooth on an automatic, isn't it? But on the manual gearbox, you know, paddle shift there, it actually engine braking.
What gives me the clue is these pedals are metallic, whereas in mine they're plastic.
Yeah. And smaller.
Yeah.
Your ones are more of a holding system, aren't they? To hold the gears in the gear lower. It'll decide whether or not, when you try to change up a gear on your one, it will decide whether or not to or not.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it doesn't tend to. We'll come off here. There we go. So that's a little bit of familiarisation to get you used to the feel of the car. I'm going to turn right here. Carry on. And then left hand side of the road, and then we're going to turn left where the blue cones are. Actually, a lot of the automatic gearboxes now all going to the, you know, the actual real clutch systems again now. And then we'll go behind the grey car here. That's it. Now sometimes this car will turn the engine off. Yeah. It just depends on the state of the battery.
And it feels like.
Yeah. If it's not warm, it is obviously warmer than the engine now. But if it feels that the battery hasn't charged up enough, then it won't do the start-stop feature.
What brakes has this car got? Standard brakes? Or the ceramic?
No, it hasn't. No, it's got standard steels. Yeah. But they're the performance upgrades. Yeah. So they're red brake calipers. Yeah. They're just bigger, really, essentially. They're bigger brakes, but they're not ceramics. Yeah. We don't really use ceramics. They're an option. Yeah. But we don't really use them because to get the full effect of a ceramic, you want to have the brakes warmed up, and in normal everyday driving, you don't get that. Yeah. So, you know, we don't bother. When we first opened, we started using them in different cars, and then after a short while, we realised it was way too expensive, and there was no real difference in what we were doing. We're going to head down here, good speed, 50-60 miles an hour. Yeah. When I take a brake, I want it to braking pretty hard, just to see the ABS working. Really, have you ever felt your ABS working? Yes. Okay, so on you go. Bit more power, even more. You can go a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And braking. Harder, 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 harder. So that wasn't the ABS working? No. So that was smooth and progressive to a stop. But did you feel the seatbelt just gently tugging? And that will change depending on how heavy you are on the brakes. Yeah. In this situation where you were quite smooth and progressive, still firm, still quick on the braking, it will just gently tug on you. Yeah. if you were to go onto the brakes like that, you know, in a split second emergency reaction kind of idea, it would just it would pull back really hard on the seatbelt. So let's see if you can do some heavier braking this time.
Right.
See if you can see that. There's a few other systems which you might have seen before. Have you ever seen your brake lights or heard your brake lights flashing? You might not have.
Certain.
Or what about the hazard lights automatically coming on?
No.
No. So you've never actually hit them hard then?
Right. Mustn't have done.
No. But then that's normal, because on a normal road condition you don't, do you?
No.
No. So this time we're going to go down there. When I tell you to brake, just see if you can go onto the brakes quicker and harder, and keep pressing. The car will stop, it will keep in a straight line, it won't veer off. But interestingly, this car's going to do the same. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So of course that alerts you a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's where...
So those brakes flashing, or the ABS letting the brakes on and off?
Yeah, that's it, exactly, yeah. I mean, that's actually slower flashing than the ABS is actually pumping.
Yeah.
The brakes are actually pumping at 150 times a second.
Right.
So let's go down again, even faster. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now braking really hard, harder, 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 harder. Hazard lights are on, you see. So what you find, the brake lights start flashing, they automatically go off.
All right.
Yeah, the brake lights will start flashing. You hit the brakes, the seatbelt really tugs back in. Around towards this side. That's it, around you go. And then once you come to a complete stop, brake lights stop flashing, and then it reverts to the hazard lights instead. Did you notice the way that the car keeps in a dead straight line now?
Yeah.
So of course that's the point of having ABS. It allows you control as well as braking. Have you ever tried? Well, you probably haven't done this either then. So turning left here, thinking about it. Have you ever tried braking and turning at the same time?
No.
That's what we're going to try to do now. Round towards this side. It's going to be number 1 on the road surface. This way, that's it. That's it, now going straight. Okay, so looking up ahead of us now, you can see the cones across the road. You see orange cone at the end of the road.
Yeah.
We're going to go towards those at around about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Sounds slow. Normal sort of road driving speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want you to imagine that's an emergency situation. So, and that's someone pulling out in front of you, maybe from a side turning. I want you to be hitting the brakes when I tell you to brake, and turning to avoid that cone.
Right.
You're braking, turning, getting into the other lane, but keeping the brakes on all the way through this.
Right.
I'm going to tell you when to brake though, which is the difficulty. 5 feet away. Alright, so try to go straight towards them until I tell you to brake. When I tell you to brake, really hit the brakes hard. On you go.
I miss it.
Yeah, on you go. So keep going. Part of 40. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Brake! Turn! Very effective, isn't it?
It certainly is.
And all Mercedes-Benz cars have got this. Carry on forwards. And the system, the ABS system, is very, 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 very similar on your car. That's it. The only difference is the brakes on this car are slightly bigger. The actual electronics of it, the way it works, how quickly it pumps, all those sort of things, exactly the same on your car.
I've had the same problem with both of the cars.
What's that?
The finish on the wheels is rubbish.
Is it really?
It flakes off. And it starts round the centre hub.
Oh really?
Yeah. So there's a...
What have they said, there's a cause to that? Or?
Yeah.
What's this side? Are they the standard wheels?
Yeah.
It's just because we have the AMG wheels on.
Oh, the AMG wheels, sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Strange, isn't it? We don't seem to have the same problem. Have you had a look around ours? Because we keep them on for about 6 months to a year, and then we change the cars. We don't seem to have that problem. Let's carry on again. Let's do it even faster. Maybe a little faster. Maybe 45. But I'm going to leave it a little bit later. So keep going. Brake, turn. There we go. And you can see how late I left. Of course, I gave you a tiny bit of help just to make sure. Nice little demonstration, that one, isn't it?
I thought you were too late then, to be honest.
I know. I've done this a few times.
I know that. I mean, I'm not saying that. Having time to think about it. Yeah. I know you won't be because you're doing this job.
Yeah.
But the impression then was you were too late.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'd never leave it that late on the road, would you? I mean,
oh no. So you might have to do that if you know.
But if there was a situation which you weren't expecting, you might have to. Yeah, you might have to. And it's the sort of thing where you kind of just have to trust the car sometimes.
Yeah.
Around towards this side. Okay, so that was all on a nice grippy-ish surface. We're going to do the same sort of thing on ice. So over that way then, up towards the white line. Now, when I say ice, it's actually a simulated ice surface. It's a surface which is made up of silicon and tar. It's called Avatol, and when you put water on there, it's just ridiculously low grip.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the difference between a dry surface and this surface, you're talking more than 10 times stopping distance. Yeah. And so that's probably really worse than an ice surface, because if you had ice on the road, it would be for a small patch, not a whole length like this. So if you can go down there at 40 miles an hour, we'll hit the brake really hard, and then we'll just demonstrate just how lacking in grip we are here. So 40 in, not far off, a bit faster, and brake fully. Keep the brakes on fully. Did you notice my seat going forwards? Yeah. So it's put me in an optimal crash position. I'm just going to move my... Oh, there we go. Because my airbag would have to go in the same place. So it actually protects the passengers as well. So yeah, lacking in grip there, isn't there? Have you ever had a surface or driven on a surface like that before?
Not in a car.
Not in a car, right? Okay, in a boat.
No, it's a motorcycle.
Round to, oh right, okay, God blimey, round to that side, all the way. On a motorcycle?
Well, I used to ride in motorcycle competitions.
Oh, okay, right.
One, it's the Scottish 6 Days trial, and part of it, you ride through forestry land, and all the roads are gravel. Okay. So every bend you come to, it's loose and you're drifting everywhere. Yeah. And you learn to be able to ride and balance it, feet up, and just.
And what bikes was that?
The actual bike was a Bultaco.
Okay. I got a couple of bikes.
Yeah.
No, nothing. I mean, I've got a Husqvarna 450 TE.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll do a bit of endurance stuff, but I'm not very good.
Well, I used to do reliability trials, which was that, and I once borrowed an enduro bike, a 6-day bike. Yeah. International 6-day bike from a chap called Jim Sandiford, who's since passed away. It was his works bike, and over the rough I couldn't use it because the power band was so narrow.
But he would have been able to use it.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got a gold medal on it.
So what we're going to do this time, go down there just at 30, see the difference at 30 miles an hour. What do you think it would be?
Probably half the stopping distance.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's try anyway. Just a nice little demonstration again. So it's 30. Now I've got a couple of road bikes though. Do you still ride on the road at all?
No.
Braking fully.
Oh, that's it. That's how I went through the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I actually stopped you a little bit later this time as well. I think we stopped you before the blue canes last time. That's it. It also feels so much more controlled as well, doesn't it? It just, you feel very stable. Okay, we're going to do a lane change on that at 40 though, towards the right. So you can imagine the sort of situation, real life situation, heading along in the sort of weather that we've been having recently, torrential rain, dual carriageway. We're going along at 40 miles an hour, can hardly see anything, that's sort of torrential rain. Yeah. And then in front of you see that something stops. Yeah. Okay. Maybe a lorry, but actually what about a lorry tyre in the road in front of you? Yeah. You don't want to go into that. So what you could do, you could try and make a lane change. You want the same amount of braking that you've done for the emergency stops, but with a small amount of steering. And it's a real guiding action on the steering. So it's braking, little turn, just kind of wait, because it does take a little bit of time to react.
Yeah.
If you can start on the right hand side within the water though, within the water, that's it, and finish on the left hand side within the water. On you go. So 40 miles an hour, bring the speed up a little bit more. That's it. Brake it fully, little turn, turn the other way, turn that way, and then excellent, isn't it? And again, that's called ESP, and that's also part of the ESP system. All of our cars have got one. Now, actually, ABS is really standard, isn't it?
It is.
Across the board on any European car. So you've got that sort of technology in most cars now as well. Now for a bit of sliding. So for that, we'll turn off the traction control systems.
Right.
And we'll see what it's like in this rear-wheel drive car. So I'm going to turn right, just coming up. Okay, so if you go around towards that side and then come over toward the left-hand side, you see the blue and white barriers, and you've got the wire barriers on this side. So right over here, a bit over this side, slowing it right down. Slow right down. And then turning across, and then come to a complete stop before the water. That's it, just gently stopping there. Okay. You can turn a bit more to your side and then stop. There we go. Right, as you can see in the dash, I've put the ESP into an off system. Now your car has got the ability to turn on and off the ESP if you want to.
Yes, I've seen that.
But you've only got the ability to press it once, and so it's either on or off.
Yeah.
But when it's off, it's actually not fully off.
Right.
Okay, if it sees that you're skidding way too much, it'll kick back in straight away and it'll help you out. This is a little bit different. On the AMGs, when it's off completely. We're going to imagine the situation that we're turning left down towards these trees.
Yeah.
From our right hand side, there was a juggernaut coming along. That's the sort of thing I want you to imagine. As you're moving your light out, you realise you're a bit close to the juggernaut. A bit of power would get us out in front of that. Okay? So a bit of power, heading that way. Ready? Go. Absolutely perfect around that way. Lovely pirouette there. Of course I expected that. You know, the torque figure on this car,
that was phenomenal,
is ridiculous. It's 900 newton meters of torque.
I didn't even boot it.
No, you didn't. That's just a rear-wheel drive car on that really icy surface that causes that. Well, you weren't really expecting it to be quite so severe.
I wasn't.
And you obviously tried to react to that skid a little bit. You came off the power, you turned into the skid. But the amount of steering, you're probably now realising, is not just a tiny bit. Yeah, it's dependent on the surface. If it's a really slippery surface like that, you really need almost full lock to try and pull that into line. And the speed of doing that, you need to be pretty quick at doing it as well.
That's one of the beauties of an old motorbike and sidecar. You can change from lock to lock that quickly.
Really? I've never had a sidecar.
They're difficult to ride.
I was talking to my wife hates being on the back of a bike. She trusts me, but she hates it. Over that way, that's it. And then stopping there. And we usually do a bit of a trip through Europe every year. And I've been toying with the idea of getting a sidecar. Yeah. I've got a BMW, which I use for touring, and I've been toying with the idea of getting a sidecar. One of our guys is an instructor from BMW, and the dealership that he works for makes these sidecars. And so I've been talking to him about it, and she seems to be quite happy with the idea of sitting in the sidecar. So I'm not so sure if I would be. Right, okay, same again, exactly same again. Systems are off again still. Just a little bit quickly trying to react to that skid. On you go. That's it, around this way. More turn. Pull straight. There we go. Much better. really is quite full lock almost, isn't it? To actually
like
catch
it was the first time. Yeah, it wasn't coming back.
Round towards the right. That's it. And of course, you were just a little bit more gentle on the power that time, weren't
Yeah.
you? We'll do one more time of that, and we're going to just put the systems back on. There we go. Have you ever felt the traction control system really kicking in at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does it do? What does the ESP
It goes
system
on
do?
and off.
So yeah, you feel the ABS working.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you felt?
Power,
So maybe-
power going on and off.
Yeah, that's it. So it's got the ability to control the power. It looks at the front wheel, looks at the back, sees which ones are skidding, and then it decides which brakes to use compared to your steering.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do this time, when you move out, full power, just keep it flat to the floor,
Yeah.
and then just guide the car.
Right.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Full power, flat to the floor, keep it there, keep it there, keep it there. And then turn left and right. And then you'll probably really feel how those brakes are working individually.
Yeah.
Because it sees the back wheel skidding, it's actually using the front brakes. If the front wheels were starting to skid in an understeer situation, it would use the rear. Yeah, towards that side. Excellent, now we can go on a bigger track area. So maybe that's probably giving you a little bit of confidence in the steering and the braking ability of the car. Left here then, put it back into sports mode. Feel free to go on. Yeah, that's fine. Round towards the left. The tracks are quite thin, aren't they?
Yeah.
Normal width of a road, of a single side of a road. So the sort of positioning that you take round these corners you could actually adopt on the road.
Yeah.
But you've had bikes before, so...
It's like Cadwell Park, that's very narrow.
Say that again?
There's a racetrack called Cadwell Park.
Oh, I know Cadwell, yeah.
That's very narrow.
So, over here. I do a fair amount of racing myself. A bit more power. Keep going. Keep going. You've been around a few racetracks then? No. No? I went to Snetterton this weekend. Just doing a bit of testing for this season, so.
Only two of my sons, the oldest and the youngest,
Yeah.
they're the ones that bought me this for Christmas.
Ah, okay.
They've been to Nürburgring and they hired a Suzuki Swift there.
Okay. You just gently pull in here to the stop sign. It's just there's a car behind us.
Yeah.
That's it, up to the stop sign. Just keep going, keep going,
Right.
keep going, keep going. Yeah, you can go now.
Right.
Yeah, no, the Suzuki Swift at Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Scary, that one is.
How was it?
They both thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But the problem was in my view, is the instructor. He told my youngest lad that he's a good driver. So now somebody said that he thinks he is.
Oh no.
With his only, how old was he when he went there?
He was 19.
That's almost.
What they do, they take you for a test lap and see
Yeah.
if you...
And he said he was a good driver.
Yeah.
He's quite a good
So,
driver.
great. But maybe he gave him a
We
bit
all
too
like
much
speed,
confidence
yeah.
there.
We all like speed that age, don't we?
Yeah. You try not to tell anybody that they're really good. The next lap you'll be falling off. Yeah. That's it. You know, you might tell them that they're okay when you get back. You just don't tell them at the time. That's it. So a little bit of power. There we go. Over towards this side. Brake in this straight line. That's it. And then turning in. You notice how that car really just does that flip on the down change.
Yeah.
Quite aggressive on the down change, isn't it? And then through the corner here, braking smoothly. And then through. And then a bit more power. Over towards this side. A little more power, looking through the corner. Keep it to this side and braking in a straight line, a bit more brake, slightly off and then through. That's it. Because those brakes are very effective, aren't they?
They certainly are.
We don't seem to have any problems with warping the discs or anything like that. We do this all day. So keep going. We do change the discs about every week though. We get a bit of a hard life.
Could have brought later than I think.
Yeah. So keep going a little further. A little further. And then you don't need to brake out. Braking now, a little more, off the brake and then through. That's it. It's quite happy going around at that speed. So keep the power on, keep it rolling through the corner. Let the car bring itself out towards the left. Braking firmly, off the brake. That's it. Keep it wide. This is fine on your speed, you don't need to brake at all at the moment. Keep going, it really will be fine. There we go. And again, it'll be fine at this speed. Really, it'll be fine. So much grip level, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
Brake. Off the brake. Carry on. And then through. Sort of speed you can carry through corners in these cars with normal tyres on. It's brilliant.
It's not a light car. It's not a toy either, is it? It's
1850 kilos.
just shy of 600 horse.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
900 newtons.
In actual fact, it's probably more than 1850 because it's got the bigger engine in. So braking there, just a shade more. Off the brake, that's it. And guide it through that corner. And again, this is fine on the speed, really, absolutely fine. I think that corner's quite impressive, isn't it?
It is.
So braking off, turning in, smoothly back onto the power. Keep the power on just gently through this corner. Increasing that power, keep us going. A bit more. Hard on the brakes, a bit harder, off the brake. That's it. That's lovely. It might feel a little bit slower in your car when you accelerate now. Keep going. Do one more lap. I think we do one more lap there, and then we'll go down towards the wet circle at the end. How are you in the back?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah. Not being thrown around too much.
No,
Running wide orange cane. Keep the power up. A bit more. Even more. Braking firmly. Lightly off. That's it. So you can come off that brake a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because if you come off the brake a little bit earlier, the weight will actually transfer back to the
I'm
rear
with you, I
wheels.
understand there because the front's lifted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we'll come off at the barriers this time. Lovely. So off towards this side. Turning right there. Left hand side. Slightly to slowing up there, and yeah, you can carry on in the same direction as the great car there. They're doing nicely. And if you go between the white lines,
Then we'll get the wet bit.
yeah, absolutely, that's a slippery wet bit now. At the moment the traction control is fully on.
Yeah.
Just going to put some water on here as well, some more water. Traction control can have some water on the wet circle. So it's actually fine at the moment, isn't it? No problem at all. The traction control is on, so if you just put some power on, you can see immediately the car starts intervening, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Seatbelt kick in, the car actually tries to bring itself back into line if you just wait for them there. They're just spinning around. Yeah, and then the brakes individually work. But ESP is now off. So now, just not quite so heavy on the power, just gently on that power, see what the difference is. A bit more power? A little bit more. Oh, and then just gently slow, just getting a bit close. You never know, if he spins around.
Yeah, I was a bit conscious of getting
yeah,
a bit
so if you just
well,
wait there for a moment.
Don't want to have a touch.
We'll just wait for him to be the other side. He's just trying to induce the slide slowly, you see. Okay, right, so about running pace and then a blip of power. You see a big difference there, but nicely controlled there. Bit more power again. Bit more. Little blip. And again, a little blip. More turn, more turn, more turn. And then lightly off the power. Just wait for them again. If you hold back here again. Those chaps have been out before. They're from UAE.
All right.
And they seem to come in every month.
To be honest, I'll tell you why. Because I've driven over there.
Oh.
And what happens, overnight, you get a very heavy dew. And it's hot. And the roads are like glass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's why.
I lived in Dubai for 2.5 years.
Did you?
Yeah. In Jumeirah. When it was like a piece of sand.
Yeah, blinking heck.
Now?
Yeah.
I was there last year.
It's 35 years ago now. I worked there for about 6 months.
Okay.
Then I went working in Syria.
Yeah. It's totally changed. Totally changed. Blip a pound. Blip a pound. Blip a pound. That's it then, turn. So difficult to actually control it, isn't it? Suddenly just loses grip and you have to turn in. Yeah, but they come in every month and they're obviously over here on business. Yeah. And there's usually one of them comes along, brings some friends with him. A lot of money, obviously. But and now that is an under steer situation, is it? So it's possible, if you're very gentle on the power, to gently coax this car into understeer.
Oh, right.
But if you're a bit more powerful on there, it'd be a nice bit of oversteer. So let's try that again. Bit of power, flip. There we go. Then turn, and then pull straight in now. And again, bit of power again. More turn. There we go. Bit more power, just a little shade more power. There we go. Bit more power. Off the power. And so what we just got you to do there was a nice little controlled slide and drift.
Yeah.
Where you just reinserted that power, as it were, and just got the car drifting nicely. Let's do one more time. Flip the power. There we go, more turn. Bit more power towards the right. Flip the power. Flip the power. More turn left. I think this is a bit like the UAE roads as well. They, it's not the same all the way around.
No.
This side here is more slippery than the other.
Right.
Flip the power again. More turn.
More waltzing.
That's it. One more time. Flip the power. That's it. Bit more power. There we go. Good. Bit of power. Left. Bit more power. That's it. Bit more power. Off the back. Oh. But of course we've got several settings on the ESP.
Yeah.
So now I put it into the sport setting, which makes you look really good. So, so now between the white lines, lots of power. See what happens now. So this will just literally hold you in a very slight slide.
Yeah.
Not nearly so much of a handful.
Yeah, nowhere near.
From the outside, thinking, oh, he's doing well.
It's almost looks under control.
And then off then.
Turn
And
it
of
off
course,
again.
yeah, I've turned it off there. I've turned it off. Let's try again, a bit more power. That's enough power. But of course, we have got an extreme amount of power on this car compared to the other ones. Those guys from the UAE, which I said about,
Yeah.
they've got a couple of these, but they've got them with performance packs on. They're 800 brake horsepower.
Good gracious.
Which is ridiculous. Coming
Going left.
Yeah, coming off here. They're actually quite good now at controlling me on the skid here.
Yeah.
But that's because they come every month. Straight on, over towards the right. 2 years ago when they first started coming here, they were terrible.
Going around to the right.
Around towards the left, we're going to go on this train. Yeah, they were absolutely terrible a couple of years ago. They'd had no training at all and they got these really powerful cars, and you think you're right. One or two of them, I had to bring them back in and say, look, if you're going to drive like that.
So we're going back on the track?
Yeah. Now look at this coming around. There's a nice little car there.
That's beautiful, that.
Around towards that side. One of our cars that we use for experiences. So that's 300 SL Goldwing. An original car.
Is that about 1970-ish?
1955.
55, blinking heck, have you see it?
Worth almost £1 million. It's got a 3 litre V6, 300 SL, I see, 300 with 214 brake horsepower. So for the time, that was an amazingly powerful car. Braking there. It's got is it a Z-shaped axle.
Yeah, with you.
And going around corners, it's interesting on those radial tyres. In the wet, it's a handful. And of course, it's a manual box.
Yeah.
So you have to double declutch. So it's it's an interesting car to
Whoever's
drive.
driving, it's quite good as well, isn't it? Because he's leaving me. Might not look that arm.
Well, that's Rob in that car in front. He's one of our. He's actually the curator for this place. As in, he looks after all the old cars and all the displays.
So he knows the circuit.
Well, he's also one of our old track instructors. Both myself and Rob, we've been here since we've opened 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we know this place inside out. That way. But he's got a very enviable job of driving around in different old cars and getting old cars for display. That's actually owned by Mercedes-Benz, that car. 961 UXD, I think it is. Yeah, that's owned by Mercedes-Benz. But a lot of the cars in the building are actually owned by our customers.
Yeah.
And he works it with them that they get to have their cars on display.
Yeah.
Anytime they want, and they can come in anytime they want to use it. And we keep them in serviceable condition.
Yeah.
And we use them for our experiences. So there's a couple of Peter Sellers cars in the building that we use on displays as well. There's an old soft top 280 E, I think it was, and that's one of Peter Sellers' old cars.
There's a Ferrari as well, isn't there?
Yeah. And there's another 1954 300 SL in the building as well, which is worth 4.5 million, which belongs to the Sultan of Brunei. And he had 11 of them commissioned by AMG, and they're original cars, 1954 cars, original cars, but they've put new running gear in them. So they handle, and they've got the same performance of a normal, now a new AMG, but in a 1954 chassis and body. Braking there, a little bit harder on the brakes, lightly off, and then through. Have you ever sat in one of those 300 SLs?
No.
When we go back in, we'll see if we can get you a seat in it. It's quite simply done. Beautiful car it is, it really is. That's it, keep going. Braking, turning, back into the power, smoothly increasing that power. Keep going. Braking smoothly. Through, back in. Over towards. That's it, bit more power. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Hard on the brakes, a bit harder. Lightly off. Have you seen what it says in the dash? Fuel tanks reserve rates. Do you want to start the search for filling stations? Because basically the sat nav on this car is linked to my mobile phone. It's got internet access. So so it can actually literally do an internet search for fuel stations. We go through about 2 tanks of fuel a day in this car. We do about 70 miles per tank. Bit more power, keep us going, even more power, even more, even more. Excellent, look at that. Braking hard, a bit harder, and gently off. Let the car rest back there, that's it. How was that? And then we're going to come off at the barriers this time, and we got just enough time to do another emergency stop. So how did you find that down there?
It's exhilarating.
Around towards the left. There we are, he's out with a customer now. So turning right. And two behind this car. You open up the engine bay on that 300 and it looks like a new car. That's it, it looks like a new car. So what we can do, just one more acceleration and braking exercise.
Yeah.
And then we'll gently start heading back in.
Right.
Down to head, yeah.
So who was the Christmas present from then?
Eldest son and youngest son.
Oh yeah, okay, the one's Nürburgring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of power there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We're going to leave it late this time. Braking hard, really hard. Horrible sound, isn't it? But it's absolutely normal, it's designed to do that. Round to the left here.
There's only one thing wrong with driving cars like these.
You want one?
Exactly.
That's it. So, just got enough time. We'll do another lap on the track. Do another lap on the track. If you want to.
Yeah, go on then. I'm persuaded.
Give it some final belly.
How fast do you think it was going on the last time?
I don't know.
No, you were going pretty fast that last time.
No.
But you could probably have come off the brake just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
On the yeah, we can go. See, it's fine. It's like just on the straight. You can probably come off the brake just a little bit earlier and just let it relax back onto the rear wheels a little bit earlier. That's it. Oh, on you go. Little pound. Sit it through. Round towards the orange chicane. Bit more power. That's it. Hard on the brake, it's a bit harder. Smoothly off. Through. Back into the pan. So keep going. That's it, a bit more power.
One more, did you say?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, we. Why not? Why not? Keep going. Braking there. Smoothly off. Excellent, turning in. You'll get through there. You'll get through that. There we go. Keep going.
There's a squeal on the tyres for the first time.
Say it again.
There's a bit of squeal on the tyres for the
Yeah,
first time.
exactly. And then coming off here at the barriers. And we're starting back in. Nice and gently. Off here now. Turning right. Nice and safe to go. And just going back in. And we'll put it back into comfort mode. There we go. Taking 90 to Shimala, just coming back into the cafe doors. There you go. And Rob's still got the gull wing out there. Yeah, that's okay. And then if we can just reverse it back in there. The other side. Into reverse. Steady to turn. That's it, a bit further. And then gently stub in there. And then all you need to do, there's a park button there, the button. That takes it into park now.
Thank you very much.
No, absolute pleasure. Nice to meet you.
And you.
Nice
Thank you.
bit of driving there.